Well, hello, Quest. Here we are reaching towards the end of February. We're wrapping up, or kind of headed towards wrapping up, our series called Kingdom Finished, which is the last section of the Gospel of Matthew. And so we're reaching there as we head towards Easter. But today what I want to do is I want to relate to that a little bit, but I also want to relate to some other things kind of associated with that. And I just want to go back to kind of the basics. What are we doing here as a church? What is this all about? And we try to do a lot of things, and we are together every Sunday, and sometimes I wonder if we lose track of what we're really all about. And here's the purpose. Here's what we're all about as a church, is that we want to, the best that we can as human beings, flawed human beings, but that we would engage the one who created us, the one who made us. We are the only thing in all of the universe that was made in the image of God. People made in the image of God. We carry something of his likeness in us. And so because of that, we have a heart, we have a soul that he breathed into us to have a relationship with him. He also gave us free will. He gave us the ability to walk away and to do life on our own and to see how that goes. It wasn't his desire, but his ability to give us freedom. And we chose that. We grabbed onto that. Adam did it for all of mankind, and we are born in his likeness too, in that we walk away from God so easily. And the sin that so easily we get entangled in separates us, pulls us away from God, and we head in a different direction on our own. And the results are, well, let's look around the world and see all the things that are going on. There's a lot of good things, obviously, but there's just so much tragedy. And that's a result of us walking away from God. And so our goal is to reconnect with him and to glorify him, to honor him, to reveal who he is in our lives, in our own heart and soul, and to the world around us, to glorify God and to be a follower of God. And he invaded human history in the person of Jesus Christ, in that he has expressed and revealed who he is in such a way that we can understand. He is the visible expression of the invisible God. And that then the goal becomes that we would be a disciple, we'd be a follower, we would be a surrendered and committed person to him because of his great love for us, and that he designed life for us and how to live it. And we choose to do the opposite so often. And yet when we walk with him, we experience not only the victory of walking with him, but the grace towards others of walking with him. And so we're all about making disciples or followers of Jesus. We want to be that ourselves, encourage and support one another. And frankly, the entire Bible that's what it's about. Reestablishing a relationship with God and beginning to engage that in such a way that it's life transforming and it's God honoring and it's people loving. And that's what we're about, that we might be followers of him. One of my favorite sections of Scripture is Psalm 120 through 134. Now, Psalm 19, it's the longest chapter in the Bible. It's 176 verses long. Great, great, great. And it really extols God for his word and his character. But in 120 through 134, there are these series of psalms that are designed to be sung, related to, probably memorized, engaged as they were traveling from their homes to Jerusalem for the festivals. Now, this journey, let's just imagine it was Jesus and his family headed from Nazareth to Jerusalem. Now, we know that Jesus did that with his family when he was 12 years old. And when they got to Jerusalem, when we're headed home, they forgot and left him in Jerusalem. They thought he was with other people in their group. And a couple of days out, they're like, where's Jesus? And they had to go back and find him. And they found him in the temple talking with the teachers there. It's a great story. But it's all about that relating to God. And so they would sing these psalms on their way from home to Jerusalem. 120 starts out by saying, I'm distressed. God, I come to you in my distress. Life's been hard. The neighbors around me here, the non-believers around me where I live, it's been difficult, and life itself is difficult. And in my distress and in my brokenness, I come to you out of my distress. I engage you. And that's life, isn't it? And so I just imagine all these people traveling from their homes, let's say Nazareth, and as they're headed, they begin to gather. First a group of 10 maybe, with a family, a couple of families, 2 or 3 families. And then they'd gather with other families as they go, and they would move from Nazareth over to the Jordan River and down the Jordan River to Jericho, and then up from Jericho into Jerusalem, 17 miles up that road. So I just imagine them begin to gather together. And I imagine they were walking in families early in the morning, and then as the day began to wear on, the kids, as kids would do, they began to kind of gather up and run and walk and do their thing. And then, as typically would happen, gals would start walking with other gals, and the guys would start walking with guys. And they're talking about all sorts of things. They're talking about the weather. They're talking about sports. They're talking about the cost of fuel. They're talking about what they're growing. About their businesses. They're talking about life, right? That's what they're doing. But one of the things they're also doing, and the Psalms reflects this, is they're talking about God and how he connects to life, their lives. And they talk in 120 about the distress of life and the difficulties of life. And as it goes on, they eventually reach Jerusalem, and in Psalm 134, there's this incredible expression because they've been looking forward to worshiping God in the temple. And when they get to 134, it says, come bless the Lord, all you servants of the Lord who stand by night in the house of the Lord, lift up your hands to the holy place and bless the Lord. And may the Lord bless you from Zion, he who made heaven and earth. Bless the Lord. So they've gone from this distress when they're leaving home, but they're looking forward to engaging God. And here's the interesting thing. They did it together, right? They traveled together. They related together. I can imagine at night, because this was probably about a 10-day journey. And they would, at night, they'd build a fire, and eventually the gals would get the kids put to bed. And the guys are sitting around the fire talking. And then the gals, when they're done doing all their work, they began to talk too about life and about how's it going, how's God relating to them, and the faithfulness. And they'd say at the end, bless the Lord. Oh, my soul, bless the Lord. And God bless us. Because they're engaging God. This is what's discipleship. This is walking with God and doing it together. That's what discipleship is all about. And here we're seeing in Matthew, at the very end of this gospel, we're beginning to see as Jesus' life is coming to an end, the incredible drama that's happening. We looked at what happened in front of Caiaphas, and the fact that there was corruption, and there was condemnation, and there was contempt, and it always brings death. But that truth and grace and compassion bring life. It's just the way it is. And we talked about Peter last week. In the denial 3 times, and that he wept so bitterly. This coming week we're going to talk about Judas. It's going to be unique. This human drama that's being played out in this story. But it's a real story. It's the truth. It happened. And we're going to see what happens to Judas. After that, we're going to see what happens when Pilate gets involved. But here's the deal. It is God's grace that he wants to give to each one of us. Because we've each fallen away in this walk through life. And eventually we get called back. Life happens in a way that we're so disappointed and pained by it all that we look for an answer, and we begin to turn, rather than to all the things of this world, begin to the one who created life. The one who made us for a relationship with him. And that it is the core, it is the key to everything. And he calls us back to a relationship. That's what we see. So as we continue down as a church, we want to glorify God by enjoying him forever and ever and love people along the way to help people engage their God, their creator, their maker, because he's personal. He's infinite and holy, and he's personal and he's gracious. That's what this is all about. That's what we're doing here at Quest. So I invite you onto that journey once again to continually walk with each other so that we can each walk with God and we can be used by each other to encourage that, right? All right, that's enough for today. You guys, I love you. Look forward to seeing you.